Hi guys, welcome back again to the channel. Today I'm going to show you a very easy or a very simple way of making a corset with yoke using bra cup without any stress. I call it corset shortcut. It is very simple. In fact, everybody can make corset as far as this method is concerned. This is the material I'll be using. This is for the yoke, and then this is the Ankara fabric I'll be using. I'm going to draft with this paper so that it will be clear. You can do that directly on your fabric, but let me use this pattern paper so that everybody can see it. So without wasting much time, let's get started. I'm going to start by marking out my starting point. I'll just come here and draw a line. Any measurement can serve this purpose. So this line will now be my shoulder line. Then from that point, I'm going to take my vertical measurement. My vertical measurement is the measurement from shoulder down. So from shoulder to my bust point is 10. Shoulder to under bust 13. Shoulder to the half length 16. And 1 inch for allowance, making it 17. So I'm going to do the same thing here for us to get a straight line. 10, 13, 17. So I'm going to connect. So I'll label it bust point, under bust, half length. So on the shoulder line, I'll add my shoulder measurement. My shoulder measurement is 16 divided by 2 will give me 8. So the neck width for this style is going to be 3 inches. Neck width, that's the wideness of the neck. At the shoulder point, I'll come down by 1 inch for shoulder slope, because our shoulders are not straight. Then I'll connect. From here, I'm going to measure my armhole depth. My armhole depth is 8, then I mark. For you to get your armhole depth, you can measure your round armhole and divide by 2, or your bust circumference divide by 6 plus 1.5. So if you divide your bust circumference by 6, whatever answer you get, you add it 1.5 to give you your armhole depth, and then you place it here. So having gotten the armhole depth, I'll come here and measure my bust circumference. My bust circumference is 39 divided by 4, 9.75, and I mark 9.75. So I'm going to connect like this. For front armhole curve, I'm going to take the midpoint of the armhole depth, which is 8, divided by 2 will give us 4. This is the midpoint of the armhole depth. And at that point, I'll go inward by half an inch for us to draft the curve, the armhole curve. So I'm going to connect from that point with a curve like this. If you don't have a curve ruler, please make use of your free hand. So this is the front armhole curve. So having gotten that, we are going to create the bustier now. To do that, I'm going to measure my neck depth. I'm going to be making use of 7 inches neck depth. I will come here and mark 7 inches. Then I'm going to connect it to the armhole. I'll connect it to the armhole like this. So this line represents my neck depth. I hope you are following. So having gotten the neck depth, I'll be marking out my bust span on all the horizontal lines. In case you don't know what bust span is the distance from one bust to the other. That is the nipple to nipple point measurement. For me, my bust span is 8. I'll be dividing 8 by 2 to get 4. Then I'll be adding ½ inch for sewing allowance, making it 4.5. So I'll be marking 4.5 on all the lines. So this line represents my bust span line. I hope you understand. So having gotten the bust span line, we are going to create the bustier now. I'll come to the under bust and take a dart of 2 inches. 1 inch on this side and 1 inch on this side, making it 2 inches. So if you have a bigger bust, you can take 1.5 here and 1 inch here. So I'll come here and measure the same thing, and I'll connect. The next thing I'll do is to connect from the bust point. I'm going to connect to this point with a curve and to this place with a curve, like this. So having done that, I'll take a dart here again, 1 inch on each side, making it 2 inches. So from this 1 inch, I'll connect with a curve, and from here I'll connect with a curve as well. So now we have gotten the curve, the bustier. So after that, the next thing I'll be doing is to draw out the neck shape here, the neck shape of my choice here. I'll be making use of a sweetheart neckline. So for that reason, from here, from this line, this neck depth line, I'll come down by 1.5 inches. You can come down by 1 inch or even more than 1.5. So feel free to do what you want. So from here, I'll come down by 1.5 inches and mark. So from this 1.5 inches, I'm going to draw out my sweetheart curve like this. So here I have the sweetheart shape. So the next thing I'll be doing is to add the neck depth for the yoke. So for the yoke, the neck depth for the yoke is going to be 3 inches. 3 inches. So I'll connect. I hope you are following. If you have any question, please feel free to drop it in the comment section. I will attend to it. So now we have the yoke. From this line down to this line will be the yoke. I hope you understand. So if you don't want your yoke to be like this, you can take this line to the armhole. As in, you can cut the yoke. You can just connect like this and then cut out the yoke. But this is how I want the yoke to be. Just feel free to do what you want. So at this point, I'm going to come to this point, this line, the neck depth line, and I'm going to replace these 2 inches for that. I'll replace it here. So this is the 2 inches plus extra 1 inch for allowance, making it 3. So I'm going to connect. I will extend this line to that 3 inches. So having done that, the next thing I'll be doing is to add my circumference measurement. So my bust circumference is 39 divided by 4, 9.75, which I've already marked here. And from here, I'm going to replace these 2 inches plus 2 inches sewing allowance, making it 4. So the same thing, I'm going to take the armhole depth to that point. So I'll do the same thing here, 4 inches, and I'll connect. This line and this line is equal, so I'm going to connect like this. I hope it's clear. So the next thing I'll be doing is to create another armhole curve. This armhole curve here, I'm going to repeat it here. So I'm going to connect like this. So what we need now is this second armhole curve, not this one. All right, so I'm going to come here and add my under bust circumference. My under bust circumference is 34. Divided by 4 will give me 8.5. I'll replace these 2 inches here. Whatever you have here, replace it here. So 2 inches plus extra 2 inches sewing allowance, making it 4 inches. So I'm going to connect like this. I will extend the line to the half length. So this is what I have. So at this point, we are going to cut it out now. I'll cut the yoke first. So I'm going to add shoulder allowance when I'm cutting on my fabric. So after cutting it, this is what we have. The reason why I extended this is because after removing the dart, this line is going to reduce. So by the time you sew it and then place the yoke, everything is going to correspond together. So by the time we sew everything, it's going to rhyme together. I hope you understand. So this is it for the front part. So we are going to cut the back part. So this is the back side. This is the shoulder slant, and then the armhole for the back side. And this is the bust point, and half length. There is no under bust. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to add my circumference measurement. I'll come to the bust point and measure my bust circumference, which is 39 divided by 4, 9.75, which is here. I'll add 2 inches sewing allowance. So I'm going to take it up to the armhole depth and connect. So at the half length, I'll add my waist measurement here, which is the upper waist, which is 34 divided by 4, 8.5. Then I'll add 2 inches sewing allowance. If you are going to make use of that, you add your dart allowance. I will not be making use of that at the back side. So as you can see, this is my zipper allowance. If you don't want to make use of zip, then there's no need adding a zipper allowance. If you want to lace the back, then from here, from this line, we are going to take away like 1.5 or 2 inches for you to lace the back. So the next thing I'm going to do is to measure the neck depth for the yoke. The neck depth for the yoke is going to be 1 inch. Then I'll connect to make a curve like this and extend it to the zip allowance. Now for the yoke, if you want to add yoke for the back side, because it's not compulsory, you can decide to make use of yoke at the back side or not. So you can just go ahead and cut out this on your fabric and use it for your back side without the yoke. If you want to make use of the yoke at the back side, then you will now determine the neck depth for the yoke. You will come here and measure the second neck depth, and that will be the yoke. For me, I'm going to measure 9 inches. I'm going to measure 9 inches here for the yoke, for the neck depth, and I'll come here and measure 5 inches. 5 inches. So for the yoke, I'm going to connect from here to here with a curve like this. So this will now be the yoke for the back side. So it means you can attach anything here. You can place, you can make use of a net or lace or any other fabric apart from the original fabric. All right, so you're going to extend it to the zipper allowance like this. So this is it for the back side. Now the next thing we are going to do is to cut on the fabric. To cut this center part, I'm going to place the fabric on fold like this, and this place I'll place it like this. I'll cut with half inch sewing allowance here. So this is the only place I added an extra allowance to join the yoke. I hope you are following. So for this side, we are going to cut this one too. So this is what we have now. So we are going to cut the front and the front and back yoke. That's what we are cutting now. So to cut the yoke, I'm going to fold the material. I'll be folding this lace into two. So this is how I cut it. We have allowance here and allowance here. So I'm through with the cutting, and I've gone ahead to attach my fusible interfacing. You can make use of any fusible interfacing of your choice, but what I'm using here is paper gum. So this is the lining. There is interfacing on it as well, the fusible interfacing, and then this is the back side. So we are going to go ahead to join this. Okay, so to save time, I may not be showing you everything on the sewing machine. For now, we are going to go over to the machine, and I'm going to sew like this. I'm going to stitch with half an inch, and the same thing here, and after that I will do the same thing on the lining. Then later I'm going to show you how I will be showing you how I fix the bra cup on the sewing machine later. But for now, I'll just go over to the machine and sew the bustier, and I'll be back. So guys, right now I'm through with the stitching, and this is what I have. I've gone ahead to give it a good press. This is the lining. This is the lining as well. So guys, we are going to convert this into a corset. And at this time, I hope you understand that this is a normal bustier with yoke. So let me place it for you to understand. So this is the yoke. This is the yoke that will cut out. By the time you fix them together, you will see something like this. If at this point you don't want to convert this into a corset, all you need to do is cut your wadding and sew it the normal way, or you can even make use of a bra cup. But what my aim is to convert this into a corset. So this is a shortcut to making your corset. So for us to convert this into a corset, we are going to go ahead and work on this bra cup. My bust circumference is 39, like I've said before, but this bra cup is 40. So I decided to use 40 inches bra cup instead of 39. That does not mean that you can't use your actual bust circumference for your bra cup. So it just left for you to make your choice to what you want per time. So I'm going to start by creating a dart. I will create a dart on this bra cup. I'll fold it into two, and I'm going to measure like 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches and mark, and I'll take 1/2 inch here and mark. So I'm going to make a dart like this towards the down part, towards this side. So I'll go over to the machine and stitch this dart. Do the same thing on this particular one as well. So guys, after making the dart on the cup, you can see that the cup is now a kind of properly curved. It's no longer flat. So this is how I like it. So the next step is to put this bra cup inside. We're going to put the bra cup inside. But first of all, I'm going to mark the center. I'll mark the center of this bra cup to go with this line. So we are going to make sure that this bra cup is placed at the center. I'm going to put it like this, and we are going to hold it with pin. I'll be using my pin to hold it down. You can see what I'm doing. So we are following this line, and at this point I'm going to pin it. After pinning, you notice that here at the center, this place is overlapping on each other. So what I will do here is to create a space here for bust separation. 1 inch bust separation. I'm going to create it here. So I'm going to measure 1 inch like this. I measure 1 inch like this and mark. So this is my 1 inch. You see, this is my 1 inch. So what I will do now is to cut from here like this and cut from here like this. Do you understand? So what I'm doing is to create my bust separation, that space in between the two busts. Can you see what I'm doing? Yeah, we have our 1 inch space. We are going to attach one bone in here, the second bone in here, and the third bone in here for us to get the corset. Can you see? With this method, you can sew so many corsets without stress. The only time you may not use this method is only when you want to use a different fabric for the bra cup. If you want a different fabric for the bra cup, then don't bother using this method. You use the other method of cutting a bustier corset. I will leave the link of that one in the description box. Go ahead and make use of that method. So, but for this, if your fabric is going to be the same, no combination, you don't need a separate fabric on this point, then please use this shortcut method and thank me later. So guys, we are going to go over to the machine and stitch the bra cup all round and fix the boning. Every other thing will happen on the sewing machine. So let's go over to the sewing machine now. So we are going to stitch on this bra cup round. Please, when doing this, make sure you use the matching color so that it will not look obvious. Okay, so we are going to fix the bone in here at the center. I'm going to cut it like this. I'll leave a space here for the yoke to fix the yoke. So after sewing, this is what we have. As you can see, it's looking very beautiful with the boning and everything. So please take note, make sure to use the matching color thread to do this so that it won't look obvious. Do you understand? Make sure, it's very, very important. You must look for the matching thread of the material. So now at this point, if you don't want to fix the yoke, just use your lining to turn the neckline and fix your sleeve here, the off shoulder sleeve. The only thing you need to do here is to trim a bit. Just have to trim a bit so that it will not be falling from your shoulder. I hope you understand. We are going to proceed to fix the yoke. So I want to attach the yoke now. As you can see, the yoke is matching with this armhole, as you can see. So I'll just pin the yoke. I'll just place it like this. I'll turn it upside down. From the center, I'll pin towards this side and this side. That is the same way I'm going to sew it as well. The next thing is to use the lining. I'll place the lining like this. Make sure to remove this on the way. Remove this on the way before you sew. It is very important. I'm going to place the lining like this, and I'm going to sew it down. I'll use the lining to turn the neckline. So guys, after fixing the yoke, this is what we have now. So the next thing to do is that you must cross check that everything corresponds to what it's supposed to be. So I'm going to place my underbust at this underbust point and take the tape upwards. This is to make sure that everything corresponds very well. So if the allowance here is much, then you reduce it and then trim the neckline. So as you can see, this is 13, my under bust, the bust point 10, and then the allowance is SS. So what I'll do is just to, I'll reduce it a bit, and I'll do the same thing here. So yeah, so this is what we have now. So guys, the next thing I'll be doing now is to iron the inside so that it will lap very well. So we're going to iron it flat. You can decide to top stitch on the lining and iron it, or you have to make use of a hemming gum. Just cut a hemming gum or paper or tape gum. Hemming gum or tape gum. Just cut a bit of it and put it inside the cup before you iron. That is what I'm going to do now, so that the neckline will relax very well. So guys, this is the back side. If you want to add zip, you add zip. If you want to lace the back, you go ahead and lace the back. So the next thing I'll be doing is to go over to the machine and join the shoulder. After joining the shoulder, I will shape the side. Then I'm going to use bias to turn the neckline, and then attach my peplon here, and then the top will be complete. So go ahead and try this out and let me know your results in the comment section. Remember, please, for this process or for this method, you must use the matching color thread. Or if you don't have the matching color thread, after stitching, make sure to use a bias to cover the stitches. Okay? So thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and share so that others can see it. Subscribe and turn the notification bell on for more videos. Till next time, I will see you again. For now, it is bye-bye.